The galactic Unity station floated quietly in space, like a giant silver coin among the stars. Inside, the grand hall buzzed with whispers and soft conversations as leaders and scientists from more than 100 alien worlds gathered around a large circular table. It was the yearly Unity Conference, an event where species came together to share knowledge, settle disagreements, and discuss peaceful progress. At the center of it all sat Princess Virelia of the Zenthari Empire. Her long silver tendrils shimmered under the hall's soft lights. Known for her sharp mind and unshakable curiosity, Virelia had recently been assigned as a peace ambassador. This was her first official event, and many delegates had come just to hear her speak. Beside her sat Dr. Elias Reed, a young human scientist from Earth. Dressed in a modest blue uniform, Elias represented humanity on the Science Council. Earth was a new member of the galactic community, and many alien species still didn't know much about humans, except that they were strange, adaptable, and often unpredictable. As a Zenthari elder finished speaking about a new energy sharing agreement, Princess Virelia suddenly raised her voice. "I have a question," she said, standing. All heads turned toward her. Her voice was soft, but it carried weight. Even the elder paused mid-sentence and sat down. The room went silent. "I've studied many species," Virelia continued, "but human biology remains confusing to me. I wish to ask, what makes your kind so different? How do humans survive the way they do? Why are you so resistant?" There was no hostility in her voice, only deep curiosity, but the question made the room colder. Elias blinked. He hadn't expected that. Across the room, some delegates frowned, while others looked interested. A few whispered among themselves in their native tongues. Elias slowly stood. "Do you mean our physical biology? Or our behavior?" "Both," Virelia replied. "You survive extreme heat and cold. Your soldiers fight even when wounded. You show kindness to enemies. Even your minds resist mental probes better than most advanced species. Why?" Elias thought for a moment, then nodded. "I can try to explain, but it may take some time." "You have the floor," said the elder, giving a small nod. Elias stepped forward and placed his hands behind his back. "Well, humans come from Earth. It's a wild world, full of storms, volcanoes, diseases, dangerous animals, and shifting climates. Our ancestors lived in fear and struggle for thousands of years. To survive, we had to change, and fast." He pointed to his chest. "Our bodies heal wounds quickly. Our immune system attacks anything that doesn't belong. Even our muscles can grow stronger if we use them again and again." He looked around. "But our real strength isn't in the body. It's in the brain. When humans are in pain or fear, our brains release chemicals, endorphins, adrenaline, and others. These help us keep going even when we're tired or broken. We call it pushing through." Whispers filled the hall. Some delegates took notes. Others looked at humans with new eyes. Virelia tilted her head. "But why? Why didn't your species break or go extinct?" Elias smiled lightly. "Because we had no choice. If we didn't adapt, we would have died out long ago. Every generation had to be stronger, smarter, or more creative. Over time, we became experts in survival. Earth shaped us." A Luthari delegate raised a hand. "But you show kindness even when attacked. Isn't that weakness?" Elias shook his head. "Not at all. Kindness is a tool too. When we help each other, we survive together. It builds trust. It builds societies. Some of our greatest achievements came from cooperation, not fighting." Princess Virelia's eyes widened. "So, you are strong because you are soft?" Elias nodded. "Exactly. We bend, but we don't break." For a moment, there was silence. Then murmurs filled the air again, some respectful, some uneasy. Virelia sat down slowly. "This answer? It is not what I expected." "What did you expect?" Elias asked. She paused. "I thought you would speak of weapons or power, But you speak of struggle and emotion. I see now. There is more to humans than I imagined. Elias smiled again. That's true. And we're still learning about ourselves too. As the meeting continued, many looked at the human differently. Some with awe, some with concern, and some, like Princess Virelia, with a growing interest that would lead to deeper questions. But none of them knew that this simple exchange had just changed the future of galactic politics forever. After the conference, the room slowly emptied. But Princess Virelia remained seated, deep in thought. Her silver eyes stared ahead, but her mind was far away. She was curious about humans, and especially about what Dr. Elias Reed had said. How could such a fragile-looking species survive? So many dangers? How could they keep hope alive through so much pain and loss? The next day, Virelia invited Elias to a private meeting in the palace on the Galactic Unity Station. The room was quiet and filled with soft light from floating lamps. The walls showed images of distant stars and peaceful planets. Virelia looked at Elias and smiled kindly. I want to learn more, she said simply. Tell me about your biology. Explain what makes humans strong beyond what I have seen. Elias nodded, feeling a mix of honor and responsibility. I will try. But it's not easy to explain something so complex. She gestured for him to begin. Elias took a breath and began. First, humans have an immune system that is very adaptable. When new diseases appear, our bodies learn quickly to fight them. We create antibodies to attack viruses and bacteria. This is why humans can survive in many environments, even ones full of dangers. He paused and looked at her carefully. But there is more. Humans have a unique way to heal wounds. When skin is cut, new cells grow fast to close the gap. Even broken bones can heal. This means we recover faster than many species. Princess Virelia listened carefully. That is remarkable, but many creatures can heal. Elias smiled. True, but what makes humans special is the speed and the mental will to survive. Even when badly hurt, humans don't give up easily. Our brain controls this. He leaned forward slightly. When we face danger or pain, the brain releases chemicals. One is called adrenaline. It gives us strength and speed in an emergency. Another is endorphins. They reduce pain and make us feel good even after stress. This is why, Elias continued, humans can keep moving despite injury or fear. It is a survival advantage. Virelia nodded slowly, absorbing every word. Also, Elias added, humans can learn and change quickly. Our brains are very flexible. When we face new problems, we invent new solutions. We build tools, change our environment, and work as teams. The princess smiled. Your species is clever. Thanks, you, Elias said. But it is not only cleverness, it is also emotional strength. Virelia looked surprised. Emotional strength? Yes, Elias said. Humans feel emotions deeply. Love, fear, hope, sadness. These emotions drive us. They help us connect with others and keep going during hard times. For example, a parent will protect their child no matter the danger. This emotional bond can give us courage and power beyond what our bodies can do alone. Virelia's eyes softened. So emotions are not weakness but power? Exactly, Elias said. In many species, emotions can cause harm, but in humans, emotions often help us survive and grow. The princess stood and walked to a window overlooking the stars. I see now why your kind survives. It is not just biology or strength. It is heart, will, the ability to adapt and care. Elias looked out too. That is humanity in a nutshell. Virelia turned back to him, her silver tendrils glowing faintly. Tell me, doctor, do humans ever fail? Do you break under pressure? Elias smiled gently. Sometimes, but that is part of life. Failure teaches us. We learn from mistakes and become stronger. The human spirit is about rising again after falling. There was a moment of silence. Then Virelia spoke quietly. Your biology is not just physical. It is a story of survival, emotion, and endless hope. Elias bowed slightly. I'm glad. I could share it with you. Over the next few weeks, word spread through the Galactic Council about the princess's interest in humans. Delegates who once saw Earth as a simple, weak world began to ask questions. Scientists wanted to study human biology more closely. Warriors wanted to understand how humans could fight so fiercely despite their small numbers. Elias found himself busy with meetings and discussions. But he welcomed it. He wanted the galaxy to see humans not as enemies or oddities, but as a strong and hopeful species. One day, Virelia invited him again, this time with a team of her top researchers. They wanted to learn more about human genetics and biology. Elias knew this was delicate. Earth had strict rules about sharing genetic data, but he trusted the princess's honesty. We want to help, Virelia said. We believe humans have much to teach us and much we can learn from you. Elias agreed to bring samples of basic human DNA for study. He hoped this trust would build stronger peace between their worlds. As the meeting ended, Virelia looked at Elias and said softly, "This is only the beginning. I want to understand everything about humans." Elias smiled. "And I want to help you." Little did they know, their work would reveal secrets that would shock the entire galaxy and change how every species viewed humanity forever. Days passed. Since Princess Virelia and Dr. Elias Reed agreed to share knowledge about human biology, the Galactic Unity Station's research wing buzzed with quiet excitement. Alien scientists from many species gathered in sleek labs, examining the human genetic samples Elias had brought. Their advanced machines scanned the DNA strands again and again, searching for secrets. Elias stood nearby, watching the results with a mixture of pride and worry. Earth had always been careful about sharing genetic information. Humans feared that if their biology was misunderstood, it could bring danger. But he trusted the princess, and he hoped the truth would build friendship, not fear. One afternoon, Virelia entered the lab with a small group of her most trusted scientists. Her silver eyes glowed with curiosity. "Show me what you have found," she said softly. The lead scientist, a tall being with translucent skin, stepped forward. "Princess, the human genome is unlike anything we have seen before. It contains many unique markers, regions that seem designed for rapid change and adaptation." Virelia raised an eyebrow. "Designed? What do you mean?" The scientist pointed to a glowing 3D model of the DNA strand. "In many species, genes are stable over millions of years. But in humans, we see a pattern of genes that appear to respond quickly to stress. When exposed to new threats, disease, injury, environmental change, these genes can activate and change faster than usual." Elias nodded. "This is called genetic plasticity. Our bodies can adjust to new problems quickly. It's part of why humans survive so well in harsh conditions." Another scientist frowned. "But there is more. Some sequences in human DNA resemble genetic code from other unknown species. It is as if your biology carries fragments of a foreign design." The room fell silent. Virelia looked at Elias. "What does this mean?" Elias was quiet for a moment. "I do not know. Humans have myths and stories about their origins. Some speak of ancient visitors or unknown forces shaping early humans, but nothing was ever proven." The scientists continued to study the samples, running simulations and comparing human genes to their own species. The results made many uneasy. One researcher whispered, "If humans carry genes from an unknown source, they may have been part of an ancient experiment, or a deliberate creation." Virelia frowned. "That is a serious claim. Could it be true?" Elias shrugged. "Science is about questions, not certainty. But it does explain why humans seem to survive impossible odds." The princess sat down, her mind racing. If humans were created or changed by another force, what did that mean for the galaxy? Were humans natural or something else? Over the next days, the council debated quietly. Some feared that humans might be dangerous, products of a forgotten power. Others believed that humans were simply lucky survivors with unique biology. Meanwhile, Elias worked closely with Virelia, sharing human history and culture. He told her stories of Earth's ancient struggles, floods, fires, wars, and plagues. Our species has always been tested, he said, and each time we learned, we grew stronger. Virelia listened with growing respect. You are like a seed that grows even in rocky soil. Elias smiled. Yes, that is a good way to say it. One evening, as they reviewed data together, Virelia asked, Doctor, do humans know who created them? Elias shook his head. No, we do not have proof. Some believe in gods or stars or fate, but science says we evolved. Or maybe we were helped. The princess stared at the stars beyond the window. If you were helped, then by whom? And why? Elias had no answer, but deep inside he felt a stirring. There was more to human biology than he had ever known. Later, a secret message arrived for Virelia. It was an ancient record from a lost civilization, one that had studied early humans thousands of years ago. The record told of an experiment, a project to create a being who could survive all dangers and bring hope to a dying universe. Virelia's eyes widened as she read the message aloud to Elias. Humans were made to be survivors. Elias sat back, shocked. That changes everything. Yes, she said. If this is true, then humans are not just another species. You are the galaxy's last hope. Word of the discovery spread quickly. Some species were amazed, seeing humans as heroes. Others grew suspicious, worried about the power humans might hold. For Elias and Virelia, the path forward was clear. They had to prove that humans were not a threat, but a promise for the future. The Galactic Unity Council chamber was quiet, but tense. News of the ancient record had spread like wildfire through the galaxy, stirring hope and fear in equal measure. Many species wanted answers. Who had created humans? What was their purpose? And what did it mean for the future of peace in the galaxy? Princess Virelia sat at the head of the chamber, her silver tendrils folded calmly over the table. Dr. Elias Reed stood beside her, ready to present what they had discovered. The council members, rulers, scientists, and warriors from many worlds watched carefully. Honored members of the council, Virelia began, her voice steady. We have uncovered ancient records that tell a story about humanity's origins. According to this record, humans were once part of an experiment by a lost civilization. This civilization sought to create a species capable of surviving any danger and bringing hope to the universe in times of great need. The chamber was silent. A few gasps escaped and whispers broke out. Elias stepped forward. While this may sound like science fiction, the genetic evidence supports the idea. Human DNA contains fragments from unknown origins, which suggests they were altered or designed for adaptability. He paused, then continued. But humans are not weapons or tools. They are survivors. They have faced extinction many times on their home world, Earth, and each time they grew stronger. One council member, a tall, armored being from the Varkari race, stood. If humans are designed to survive, does that mean they could become too powerful? Could they threaten other species? Virelia answered calmly. That is why we must understand them fully. Fear is natural, but it should not stop us from seeking peace and cooperation. Another council member, from the peaceful Zinthari species, nodded. Perhaps humans are a reminder to us all that survival requires strength, adaptability, and hope. Elias added, humans do not seek to dominate. They want to live and learn. They can teach us much about resilience and unity. The council debated for hours. Some were uneasy about the idea of humans as engineered survivors. Others saw the potential for new alliances and knowledge. After long discussion, the council agreed on one thing. Humans must be invited to share more of their science and culture. And to prove their peaceful intentions, a challenge would be offered. Princess. Virelia smiled softly. I propose a test, not of war or strength, but of survival and cooperation. We will send one human and one alien to a hostile moon for 7 days. They must work together to survive. The chamber buzzed with excitement and nervousness. Elias looked at Varelia. I volunteer. The princess nodded. Then it is settled. This will be the beginning of a new era, one of trust, learning, and unity. The day arrived for the survival challenge, and the Galactic Unity Council gathered at the spaceport of the Unity Station. A small shuttle awaited them, a sleek, compact craft designed to take the 2 chosen participants to the hostile moon called Cathar. This planet was known for its harsh climate, freezing nights, dangerous storms, and wild predators that roamed beneath thick forests. Dr. Elias Reed stood tall beside Princess Varelia, who was acting as the event's overseer. The council had chosen Kalen, a fierce Xanthari warrior, to be Elias's partner. Kalen was known for his strength, loyalty, and skill in battle. Though his scales shimmered with blue-green light and his eyes glowed like embers, he felt a quiet curiosity about this human. Are you ready? Kalen asked, his voice low but steady. Elias smiled. As ready as I'll ever be. Let's show them what we can do. The shuttle launched smoothly, leaving the station's orbit and heading toward Cathar. Inside, Elias and Kalen studied maps and equipment. They had only a limited supply of food and tools, enough to last 7 days if they used them wisely. When the shuttle landed on Cathar's rough surface, the 2 stepped out into a world that seemed both beautiful and deadly. Towering trees reached up to the dark sky. Strange glowing plants lit parts of the forest floor. But distant howls and rustling leaves reminded them of the lurking dangers. Their first task was to find shelter before night fell. Kalen moved quickly, his warrior instincts guiding him. Elias watched and learned. Though he was not as strong or fast, his mind worked fast, noticing details and patterns. Over here, Elias said, pointing to a rocky cave entrance partly hidden by vines. It should keep us safe from the wind. Kalen nodded and led the way inside. The cave was cold and damp, but better than facing the storm outside. They built a small fire using flint and dry leaves Elias gathered, while Kalen checked their supplies and weapons. As darkness fell, the temperature dropped sharply. The 2 sat near the fire, sharing what little food they had. Kalen broke the silence. You humans are different. You don't fight right away. You think. You wait. Elias smiled. Survival is not just about strength. It's about patience and teamwork. Kalen looked at him closely. I'm learning. That night, strange sounds echoed outside, the howls of predators, the crackling of distant fires. Elias felt fear but kept calm. He reached into his pack and took out a small device, an old earth tool that sent out light pulses. The strange lights seemed to confuse nearby creatures, keeping them away. Over the next days, Elias and Kalen faced many challenges, storms that drenched them, narrow cliffs that forced careful climbing, strange plants with toxic spores. But the hardest test was learning to trust each other. Kalen was quick to act, often rushing forward to face dangers, head-on. Elias used his knowledge to avoid traps and find safe paths. Sometimes they disagreed, but slowly they learned to listen. One evening, Kalen injured his leg during a fall. Elias immediately took charge. Using basic medical tools, he cleaned and bandaged the wound. Then he shared his last supply of food with Kalen. I owe you my life, Kalen said quietly. Elias smiled. We owe each other. This is survival. By the 5th day, they were both tired but stronger. Their respect for one another had grown. On the 6th night, a fierce storm struck. The cave shook as wind and rain battered the rock. Their fire almost went out, but Elias protected it with his body. Kalen sat close, silently watching. When dawn came, the storm passed, leaving a fresh world behind. The 2 stepped outside, tired but alive. On the 7th day, the shuttle returned. The council and many delegates waited to hear their story. Elias and Kalen stood side by side. Kalen looked at Elias and nodded. We survived because we worked together, Elias said. Because we trusted each other. The crowd erupted in applause. Some species who had doubted humans before now saw them in a new light. Princess Virelia smiled proudly. This is only the beginning. News of the survival challenge spread quickly across the galaxy. When Dr. Elias Reed and Kalen, the Zenthari warrior, returned from the harsh moon of Cathar, many were eager to hear their story. The Galactic Unity Council held a grand meeting, inviting representatives from every member world to witness the event. Elias stood at the front, his face calm but determined. Beside him stood Kalen, still bearing the scar from his injury on Cathar. Their partnership had shown that different species, even with many differences, could work together and survive. The council chamber was filled with chatter. Some species whispered nervously. Others showed quiet respect. Many had never seen a human so close, and the idea of human strength surprised them. One delegate, a tall armored being from the Varkari Empire, spoke first. I admit I doubted humans. I thought they were weak compared to other species in the galaxy, but this test has shown me that they have great resilience and spirit. Another representative from the Zintari people added, humans have not only survived but thrived under extreme conditions. This is a lesson for all of us. Despite the praise, not everyone was comfortable. Some voices questioned what this meant for the future. An elder from the Thraxan race raised concerns. If humans are able to adapt so quickly and survive so, well, what stops them from becoming dominant? Could they be a threat? Princess Virelia stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. Fear is natural when we face the unknown. But humans have proven their desire for peace and cooperation. We must choose to trust, not fear. Elias nodded. Humans do not seek to conquer. We want to grow, learn, and live alongside others. Our history has taught us that cooperation is stronger than conflict. Across the galaxy, news of the challenge and its outcome spread to many worlds. Some species began to change their view of humanity, from curiosity or suspicion to respect. In a distant star system, young aliens read stories about Elias's survival and the humans' emotional strength. They dreamed of one day meeting humans and learning from them. Yet not all was peaceful. Some factions whispered about the human threat, worried about what might happen if humans unlocked even more of their potential. Back on the Galactic Unity Station, Elias and Virelia worked together to ease tensions. They organized forums for dialogue, shared human knowledge about biology and survival, and invited alien scientists to collaborate with Earth's researchers. Virelia often reminded the Council, the galaxy's future depends on understanding and unity. Humans offer us a chance to learn resilience and hope. Elias believed in that future. He saw a galaxy where differences were strengths and cooperation led to prosperity. But deep inside, he also felt the weight of responsibility. The truth about human origins and their unique biology was still a secret to most. He hoped it would never be used to divide or scare others. As alliances grew and new friendships formed, the galaxy moved slowly toward a new era, one where humanity was no longer seen as strange or weak, but as a vital part of the cosmic family. And all of it had begun with one simple question from an alien princess. The Galactic Unity Station glowed softly in the vastness of space, a beacon of hope and progress. The events that had unfolded over recent months had changed everything. Humanity was no longer just a newcomer. It had become a respected member of the galactic community. Princess Virelia and Dr. Elias Reed stood together on the station's observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly before them, each one a promise of new worlds and new friendships. Who would have thought, Virelia said quietly, that a simple question about biology could lead to this? Elias smiled. Sometimes the smallest questions have the greatest answers. Since the survival challenge on Cathar, many things had changed. Humans and aliens worked side by side in scientific labs, exploring ways to improve medicine, technology, and even mental health across species. Shared knowledge was healing old wounds and building new bridges. Elias had been offered a permanent seat on the Galactic Unity Council, a sign of trust and respect. Though he felt honored, he also felt the weight of responsibility. The secrets of human biology, their origins, and their potential were still mysteries to most. But he was ready to help the galaxy understand. Princess Virelia had become Earth's closest alien ally. Together they traveled to distant worlds, speaking of unity and hope. Virelia's respect for humans had grown into friendship. And then, something deeper, an unspoken bond born from shared discovery and trust. One evening, as they watched the stars, Virelia asked, "Elias, do you think humans will ever truly understand themselves?" He thought for a moment. Maybe. We are always learning. That's part of what makes us strong. Our biology is strange, yes, but it is also full of hope. We are built to survive and to grow. Virelia nodded. Then I believe the galaxy has much to learn from you, and you from us. News from Earth had arrived. A new breakthrough in medicine inspired by alien technology was ready to help millions. Elias smiled, proud that humanity was no longer isolated but part of a larger family. Across the galaxy, many species began to look at humans differently. No longer seen as fragile or strange, humans were recognized for their resilience, creativity, and heart. The ancient record about human origins remained a secret to most, shared only with trusted allies. It was a reminder that sometimes the greatest strength lies in mystery. As new stars were explored and new friendships formed, the galaxy moved forward, stronger and more united, and it all started with a curious alien princess asking a simple question about human biology.